Hello, and welcome to the Let's Talk Moral Injury podcast. I am your host, Dr. Daniel Roberts.
And I'm your co-host, Mia Ricks.
Today we have a special guest. We have Steve Alpert with us. Steve, thank you so much for joining us this evening. After you've been involved in doing these paintings and portraits from what you said, 2003, when you view people now, say you're walking on the street in New York, I know you pass thousands of people a day. When you meet people, do you automatically just start envisioning like the different colors of their aura that they're giving off to you? So
Yes.
how a person presents themselves, like you start seeing all the different colors that
Oh yeah.
manifest.
Yes, you're right. You are very perceptive. You seem to know instinctively a lot of, or intuitively a lot about art.
It's something I loved, and I took art appreciation my freshman year of college, and I loved the class so much. But part of me, I feel good now that I've been overthinking all these colors. It's finally
No,
come to
You're
hand.
not overthinking at all. You're right on the money.
Another question I had, Kim Brooks, that image stuck out to me because of the color purple and the way that you painted her stance.
Oh, okay. That's a good story.
Do you mind telling the story behind her?
Yeah, sure. I met Kim. I spent a whole day with her, actually. She's a lovely person. It was February, and I took that long metro trip all the way out the Orange Line. I couldn't believe how long how far it went. And then Kim picked me up, and we went to, it was a warm day in February, and we were able to sit outside and had lunch. She told me her life story. He's a Native American Athabascan who was born in Alaska, but then sent to a boarding school in Oregon, and she joined the Marines. Very, very proud to be in the Marines. But you know Marines, they're all crazy. You know, every time I meet a Marine, I say, okay, what is with you guys? What is with you? I don't get it. But she was so proud to have served in the Marines, and so she brought her camos, and we had discussed that. I said, let's go to the Marine Museum in Quantico and do the photograph there. Has everybody been to that museum, by the way? Anybody?
No, I haven't. Not that one.
You must go. It's an extraordinary experience. It's one of the most impactful museums I've ever been in. So beautifully done, as only the Marines would do. In fact, I heard that when they decided to fundraise for this campaign, they raised money in months, and the Army raised money for their museum for years. And then I heard the Marines, they wanted to build an annex part of the museum, and they raised the money like in a couple of weeks. The Marines are really something else. Anyway, so we went to the rotunda. There's a beautiful, beautiful rotunda as you walk into the building, and Kim put her camos on, and she had some Native American touches like a belt and the mitts with a flag on the mitts, and it's cold in Alaska, obviously, and so I had Kim stand. I didn't like her in close up. Kim is another one of those people who does not like to be photographed. So that's a problem. It's like, what do I do? So I backed up a little bit. I said, let me do like let me get her whole figure. And I had a nice photograph. I caught her once when she was looking up, and it looked heroic to me. And I remember painting in her face. It took about 30 seconds, and I said, don't touch it. Don't go back in. I just caught an essence of it just by happenstance. And then I thought, okay, I was going to do some Northern Lights. Mm-hmm. I find usually that my first idea for a background, the backgrounds are very, very important. It's good that you say that, Mia. You noticed that before in the dawn painting. The backgrounds have to complement. The backgrounds cannot be they cannot overpower the person, but they have to support the person. It has to be like if in a cast in a movie or a play, your supporting actors have to be excellent, but not overshadow the star. So it's the same thing in a portrait. The background has to completely complement the main subject. So I thought of, Northern Lights. I said, no, that's a stupid idea. Throw that out. It's too complicated. It would take interest away from Kim. And I just thought a simple night sky with with some stars, that would be enough. So, and I've learned to trust my instincts. Like whatever I think of first for a background, I know that that's wrong, and I have to say, okay, I have to simplify that idea.
I like the color purple because usually people associate purple with royalty. And it's interesting how you said she stood and her face just, it fully embodied that she was a very like strong presence. And that's kind of what I got from the image. And I was interested to hear how you chose the background for it, because I was thinking Kim was a very strong individual, just from the way that you painted her and the color that you used in the background.
Thank you. Yeah, I could see that when I was shooting the photo. I could see when I was close up, I was seeing that Kim was not enjoying herself. I was too close to her. It was not right. And when I backed up and I caught her looking up, I said, "Oh, that looks like I said that's a heroic kind of look." And it's very different than all the other paintings too. So that's another thing. I don't want to make the same painting. There are a lot of artists out there who make the same painting over and over and over again. There may be different subject matter, but you can always tell. I hope, and I don't really know because I'm too close to it, but I don't want to be pegged with any kind of style.
I can recognize that in your paintings that I've seen. I just looked at your gallery online, and every portrait is extremely different from the other, and the best way possible, because
Thank you.
tell an extremely different story. And even with me looking on the outside in, I felt as though I could recognize kind of an idea, like an outline of what their stories were. And then when you tell their stories, I go, he did a fantastic job of representing their stories onto a canvas, because it's truly what you've done with the colors, the stance, like how you said with her, you chose that heroic look into the distance, and then you stepped away from her. And that's just, I think you did a fantastic job. Really hit the nail on the head.
Thanks very much. You made me think of, let's see, there's another painting I want to talk, was it Miyoko? No, not Miyoko. Oh, no, the painting of Karen Meeker. So I met Karen, was at the Pentagon, and she wanted to take the photo in the 9/11 chapel in the Pentagon, which was very appropriate. Karen Meeker has the fiercest faith of anybody I've ever met in my life. It just comes out of her, and when I'm with her, I just feel like I could be with her for centuries.
Yeah,
I love being in her presence. She is such an angel. And so when we were in the 9/11 chapel, I didn't want her looking in the camera for some reason. I wanted her in prayer. So I asked her to effect that pose, which she did. And it was a very difficult painting to make. Well, first of all, it's painstaking to paint that kind of uniform, all that detail.
yeah.
But the thing that really knocked me out was the hands. The hands are very difficult to paint. I am not a big life drawing guy. And but she had her hands down below like this. And with Karen, I know her well enough that after I finish a work session, I always take a photograph. So I look at it at night so I can see what I need to do the next day. And also get a couple of hours distance from the work session so I can see it, because I'm up against the canvas I need to come back and see, what's really happening. So I would send these pictures to Karen, these progression of the paintings as the painting was being made. And then I told her, I said, I'm having a hell of a time with your hands. She goes, oh, the hands look fine. They're great. They're fine. She was letting me off the hook, which is so sweet. But no, I said, no, not done. And I worked and I worked and I worked and I worked. I finally got it so it's passable for me, but it was very difficult. But I love that portrait of Karen. I love that portrait of Karen because I love Karen, and that's a moment that I experienced with her. Her incredible. It's like she has a steel connection with God. I've never. I can only imagine what she does on a daily basis and how she interacts with troops and how she might have interacted. She was the chief chaplain in Landstuhl in Germany, Landstuhl Hospital. I can only imagine how she helped so many people.
When I saw that Karen's portrait, because I know her well too,
Right, of course.
I felt like you captured her perfectly.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I agree with you 100%. Karen is a really, really wonderful person to be around. So kind, that I just really appreciate her in so many ways. So are for this Proudly She Served, are you done doing portraits now? Have you done the last one?
Yeah, B was the
project?
last one. I finished B last spring. I finished B, I think February was the last. And then I did some touch-ups on a couple of them. And I'm actually reworking the Senator Tammy Duckworth painting. I really, everybody around me said, oh, that's fine. It's really good. It's fine. I said, no, it's not good for me. So I'm taking it apart and changing it. So that's still in progress there. But I have a gallery show in Greenwich, Connecticut, at a very nice gallery where my stuff is now. And I'm doing some very big pieces, very colorful, very loose. I mean, for 3 years, I spent, making little marks to get the eyes just right, and the nose and all that.
Right.
And now I'm using lots and lots of paint, big canvases, spreading color, just sort of, out of the box that I was in, just to change it up. After that, I don't really know. I'm not interested necessarily in taking on another series. Just before the portrait of before Proudly She Served, I did a series of paintings called Full Honors. I photographed the Full Honors funeral ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery in May of 2015. And I worked for three and a half years making 7 large paintings documenting that from the photographs I had taken. I wasn't planning on making a series. I was just going to do one portrait of a friend of mine who was a chaplain officiating on that particular day. It was his last one, actually, before he moved on. And then I saw all the photographs on the train back to New York, and I had 150 photographs. I looked at it and said, oh my God, I have a series here. I never even thought about it. And then a good friend of mine encouraged me. I said, oh no, I know it's too much work. I can't do it. No, she said, no, you have to do this. You have to do this. I said, okay, I get it. I do have to do it. You're right. And so I did it. And those paintings now are blown up prints are in the Pentagon. I have been there for, I guess, 3 years now, maybe 4. I don't know. But I'm told they're going to be there indefinitely. Not the originals, but big blow ups.
Yeah. Right.
At the 3rd floor apex between corridors 1 and corridor 2. So from there, I went right into the Proudly She Served series. So I want to be free of series for a little while. I'm sure there'll be another one down the road. I'm making a large painting, something from D-Day, Omaha Beach. My wife and I visited Omaha Beach a bunch of years ago and had a really life-changing experience there. So.
Well, I do love the American military contemporary paintings too, because there's a lot of color in those, a lot of really neat the way you've contrasted various things, the way you make, just whether it's aircraft flying in the sky, a lot of aircraft here, really makes it come alive. And they're kind of unique in the sense when you go around, military buildings, headquarters buildings, there's always lots of photos, historical stuff, and some painting stuff. And most of it is not being an artist myself, is realistic kind of like,
Right.
and this is contemporary. This is
Yeah.
just more about colors and images and generating a certain feeling than getting details
Yes.
exactly right on some of them. So
if you before I really knew what I was doing, even now, if you go on the internet and you look up military paintings, you're going to see those realistic type paintings, the dog fights, the naval
Right.
battles, and that stuff has not really changed since I grew up in the 1950s.
Right.
It's not really painting. Well, your paintings, yes, but it's more illustration.
Mm.
It's more realistic illustration, and that's not what I want to do. I wanted to take. I'm more interested in a feeling.
Right.
I'm interested in creating something that you can bring your experience to. When you look at a dog fight, there's nothing to interpret. Here it is.
Yeah. Right.
This
Right.
plane going after that, and that's it. But I like my paintings in this vein because it's not necessarily all that specific. When you look
Right.
at some of my Blackhawks, you can make up your own story about it.
Right. Right.
Would you
Absolutely.
say that your years as a producer and then your years as an artist have either built off of each other, or has one impacted the other in a more substantial way than you would say? So I guess my point would be, your paintings, has that completely changed your mindset and your view when you're producing?
Well, I haven't produced anything. That's good. It's a very incisive question. I haven't produced anything really in almost 20 years. And my friend Kamal Kalsi called me up back last January and said, I want you to produce this thing. And I said, Kamal, I haven't produced anything in 20 years. He goes, I don't care. I want you to do it. So actually, because I've been away from it for so long and I've been doing my painting, my journey in painting in producing this documentary is I put a really great team together. And as a friend of mine, someone asked me, well, what do you do as a producer on this production? I said, I'll tell you the truth. I don't really do anything, but I'm responsible for everything. If that makes any sense. I mean, I have to know everything that's going on. I have to make sure everything is in place. We're all set to do what we have to do, but I don't really do anything specifically other than that.
Right.
Which is a lot. It demands that I think about where we are every single day.
Mm-hmm.
We have 3 more shooting days coming up. We have a shooting in DC on the 10th. We're videotaping an interview with former Secretary of the Army Eric Fanning, who actually signed the document, signed the order to change the rule to allow soldiers in uniform to be able to wear their articles of faith. And also, we're following a story of a young Marine recruit to be. He's waiting for his special accommodation to be able to wear his beard and turban as he reports to basic training in San Diego. So we'll be spending a day with him, with his family in Houston. The very last day, we're going to see him being taken away to the airport, and that moment when he says goodbye. And then we're going to wait about another 7 weeks, because basic training for the Marine is 10 weeks. We want to make sure that he's, securely involved there. And then we're going to spend a day in San Diego at basic training, which should be absolutely fascinating. I can't wait for that. And then, well, we're going to start editing actually as soon as we finish this shoot in DC a week after next. So we should be finished with the whole project in April. So I feel like I've been guiding it, but not really. Just making sure that everything's okay. And everything has been okay. I've got great people and I trust them, and we become good friends. We become like a family through doing this, which happens a lot. And I have very, very high hopes that this documentary will be very impactful at this particular time in history, which, you know, it's a crazy time we're in. I think we're at a very critical time in our country. And I think that this documentary, the message of this documentary is, you know, accepting all and everybody. So,
What is a tip that you give to aspiring artists?
I teach. I've been teaching at Fordham University, veterans. I have an art workshop. We've been doing it we're in our 5th year. And my main theme is that every artist, whether it be writer, producer, director, sculptor, painter, musician, singer, songwriter, all artists make art to learn the truth about themselves. So when I first started painting as a career, when I made the career change, and all of a sudden I had a revelation. It was on my birthday. I was 53, and my 53rd birthday, November 16th, 2003. And I read a piece in the New York Times that there was a mid-air collision of 2 Black Hawk helicopters over northern Iraq, over Mosul, actually. And we lost 17 people. We lost 17 soldiers that day, men and women. And for some reason, that really grabbed me. And I said, you know, I have to make a big painting of a Black Hawk helicopter to honor these soldiers that we lost. No idea what to do with it or anything. And I made a little study, a little 9x12 study. It was still wet. And I called a patriotic buddy of mine to come over, and he was holding it. It was still gleaming wet. And he said, "Oh, Steve, you know, this is fabulous. My godson was a Black Hawk pilot in Afghanistan, and he's graduating from business school at Stanford in the spring. And I want to give this to him as a graduation gift." He gave me a couple of $100 and he drove away. And as he drove away, I'm looking at this car disappear down the street, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, this first little painting found its way to a genuine Black Hawk pilot. How is that possible? That really was like a little minor miracle. And so I made the big Black Hawk painting, and then I spent the next couple of months just one Black Hawk after all these helicopters. My wife comes up to the studio about 2-3 months in. She goes, "What's going on up here?" I said, "I don't know." She said, "Well, what are you going to do with these paintings?" I said, "I don't have any idea." And it really wasn't until I visited the old Walter Reed before they closed it down, and I went with 2 buddies, and we wanted to thank some wounded soldiers. So we were guided, and we met four young men, 2 of whom were profoundly wounded, and that day changed my life. And I learned about Fisher House, and I contacted Fisher House. And the following year, I donated 9 paintings, and there was a gal who was in the fundraising committee who knew how to sell paintings. She raised $40,000 for these 9 paintings. All the money, of course, went to Fisher House, and it pointed me in the direction of like, yeah, these paintings. Now I know why these paintings, what their job is. The job is to raise money, and the job is to raise consciousness about men and women who serve. And for me, it was the way I was like, wow, now I can see my way. I'm going to keep on doing this. This is wonderful. So the paintings taught me. So that's the illustrating of, you know, all artists make their art to learn the truth about themselves.
I like how you said that, because a big thing that bothers me so badly in this world is when I hear someone say, and specifically like young adults and children say, "I'm going to be the next ... the next Michelangelo," like all these different people. And it's just, don't be the next person, be yourself. Like, find what you're going to do and how you fit into the world, rather than saying, "Oh, I'm going to be the next, I don't know,
Right.
next Britney Spears."
That's the celebrity culture that we're in, and
Yes.
that attracts young people, and they think that that's like a, you know, something to hang a hat on. But when you get older, you find out that that's not really true. I'm not trying to be like anybody. I'm just trying to be the best that I can be.
Exactly.
So Steve, been great having you tonight. I think
Thank you,
you
Dan.
do
Thank you
some
so much.
really great work.
Thank you.
Mia's going to work with you to help promote your work and your site and stuff on the podcast website. But thank you for being with us. I think you're doing a great job. I appreciate the way you honor the military, and
Thank you.
just I know the women are honored, but also you have some great portraits of General Dempsey and General Odierno, and helicopters and aircraft and soldiers with weapons and in fighting positions and all kinds of great stuff. So for anybody who has a real interest in military stuff, whether you served or not, I think you'll find Steve's work to be really, really, really fascinating and worth getting a hold of. So thank you so much for our
Thank you,
time
Dan.
tonight, Steve.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. I felt like I was fangirling the whole time.
Mia,
I love your work, and when I saw it, I was just like, "Whoa!"
all right,
can't ask him a million questions.
we have to. Our relationship is just beginning here, not ending. So we have to find a way to get both of you some stuff.
I would love
right.
that.
So let's
right.
after we finish, let's keep in contact, okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, sounds great.
You got
and Dan, do you speak to Karen on a regular basis, or just
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, every month at a minimum for our board meetings.
All right.
But other times too. So
You can just tell her how much I love her, because I do.
I will.
Okay. All right. Thank you all so much.
Yep, you're welcome. Well, that concludes the session for this week of Let's Talk Moral Injury. I'm Dr. Daniel Roberts.
And I am Mia Ricks.
Women chaplains, we need you. The Tubman Chaplain Network offers women chaplains an opportunity to serve and support military servicewomen and veterans who do not have access to a chaplain that they trust. Tubman Chaplain Network's chaplains serve as volunteers and do not charge fees for their services. They must be able to respond to a request for support within 48 hours from the time a woman veteran contacts the network. Serving as a TCN chaplain offers a number of benefits, including liability insurance, annual training, and ministry experience. To learn more about the network and how to apply, go to chaplainconsultants.com/Tubman-chaplain-network. Use passcode 34663965 or contact Dr. Daniel Roberts at droberts@chaplainconsultants.com. That's chaplainconsultants.com/Tubman-chaplain-network, passcode 34663965, or to make it easy, just contact Dr. Daniel Roberts, droberts@chaplainconsultants.com.